Hello, mindful friends. Today we're going to be talking about how mantras can help us shift from negative thinking and destructive thought patterns into more life-giving, hopeful, peaceful thought patterns. And as with all different kinds of mindfulness practices, the key to being able to do this is developing a deep awareness and understanding of what is going on in your mind. So if you can't recognize the thoughts that you're having about self or the world around you or other people or the situation, then it's going to be really hard to shift those and transform them into something positive. So your first step is always being able to settle enough, to find enough quiet space so that you can step back from the thought patterns you're having, from what you're engaged in, those stories you're telling yourself. So step out of the story and start watching the thoughts. So watching the habits of the mind and noticing what reality they're creating within you. And what we notice when we start observing is that thoughts are cyclical. So we often have the same ones over and over again. So if it's very rare that we have a novel thought. It's something we've heard before, it's something we've told ourselves before, it's something we've thought many times before, and they play on repeat to ourselves. And they might be a different version of the same story, but it might be one kind of story that we tell ourselves over and over. And these repetitive thoughts, if they're negative, they're what kind of drive us into negative perspectives of the world or a negative reality that we're living. So we really want to be able to catch when these thought patterns that we have are on repeat and they're creating a negative reality for us. So we step back, we observe, we notice, what thoughts keep coming up for me? And it might be one thought that you have maybe every time you make a mistake, or every time something doesn't go quite your way, or every time you hear somebody say a certain thing or act in a certain way. It might be this one story that comes back up that kind of fuels your perspective of what's happening. These might be something we heard someone say to us as children, or someone has told us at some point, or it's a perspective we've gotten of self or the world that just stuck with us for a long time and maybe isn't true anymore. Or even if it's partially true, it might not be super helpful. So we observe what this thought is. So for example, if when I make a mistake, I say, "Oh, I never do anything right. What is the matter with me?" That thought is not truth. Okay? It's a thought that we've had, it's a programmed response, and it's not true that you never do anything right. But what happens is it's our knee-jerk reaction when something occurs and it triggers us into that thought pattern. Now we think that thought, and what does it do to our interaction and engagement with the situation in reality? Automatically makes it more negative. We have that thought about the situation. Now we go into a self-deprecating mode. We're down on ourselves. We're seeing everything that's negative about the situation. So this thought is obviously not very helpful. So when we notice this thought, we're the observer. We don't judge, but we just say, "Hey, I see that you're there, thought, and you're not super helpful." We bring the attention back to the breath, back to the present moment. We settle, and we ask ourselves, what do I need to hear in this situation that would help me to grow, or help me to heal, or help me to have a better perspective in this moment? So we imagine we're doing this thing, we make this mistake, and instead of saying, oh, I never do anything right. I'm always failing. We say, actually, what I'd like to hear in this situation is, I'm imperfect. I know I make mistakes, but I do a lot well, and I can learn from my mistakes, and I can bounce back and try again. So maybe that's not exactly what you need to hear. Maybe it's something like, I'm imperfect and I also do a lot of things well, or whatever it is. But ask yourself, what do I need to hear right now in order to keep a positive outlook, to stay engaged with this, to bring that hope and love and peace in, and to move forward in a positive way? This little kind of implanted thought that we put on top of the negative one is kind of the same idea as a mantra. So it's something that we say over and over, and it replaces negative thoughts. So that now, when that little repetitive wheel of thought keeps going around and around, every time we have the negative one that's not super helpful, we train our mind to switch over to the positive mantra or the helpful thought. And slowly, you'll notice when you do this over and over, it becomes habit. And now every time that you would have thought the negative thought, the positive one comes in. And all of a sudden, you're creating a positive reality for yourself, and your outlook towards the world around you has gotten a lot brighter and a lot happier. So these mantra creation, or you can call it, if you don't like that word, positive affirmation, positive thinking, is just something that you repeat to yourself every time one of those negative, not so helpful thoughts comes in. And we do that over and over until it becomes our new habit and our new thought pattern. And it's one that actually serves us. So I hope you enjoy creating your mantra this week and shifting into positive thought patterns that serve you rather than harm you. If you enjoy these little talks and want to join some of our group sessions or get some individual coaching, please go to newleafpath.com. I hope to see you all very soon.